Movies have a lot of great stories to tell. Every medium does, but at least to me, I've always felt that movies are far more likely to stay with me than something like a book. I can't even tell you what the last book I read was. It's probably something for English class, but I can tell you that the last movie I saw in theaters was Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig. I can tell you that because it was a great story that was told really well. According to my Nana, I shouldn't have liked it because it's about women, but that's a bit of a tangent. Long story short, my Nana thinks I'm an incel, Greta Gerwig got snubbed for Best Director, and movies tell great stories. What about those other mediums, though? Novels and watercolor and ballet must have some great stories there, too. Unfortunately, I'm not as well versed in those, hence why this is not a video on the painted illustrations in the novelization of The Nutcracker. This is a video on a medium, other than film, that I am comfortable talking about. Video games. Specifically one video game that I think maybe has the greatest story the medium has ever told. Gone Home was released by Fulbright in 2013. The same year we got Grand Theft Auto V, Call of Duty Ghosts, and apparently Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Now, while I can't speak for that last one, maybe Capcom took the chance to really explore the psychology of Pinky the Ghost or something, those games are not like Gone Home. Call of Duty and GTA, and a lot of other games, use a story simply to facilitate big, epic set pieces for the player's power fantasy. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but Gone Home stood out to me because it uses story not to explain why things are exploding, but to teach. Gone Home is what is commonly referred to as a walking simulator. The term was originally used to degrade games like it, but now it has just sort of been accepted as the name of the genre. You've just arrived back to your 1995 Oregon home after a year-long trip backpacking across Europe, and no one's home. You simply walk around the house and try to find clues as to what happened and where everyone is. Did they go out for milk and never come home? Are there rotting corpses buried in the basement? Has everyone gone to the rapture? Wrong game. That's all I'm going to say before I start spoiling it, so if it interests you, please, for the love of God, go play this masterpiece of a game. On the surface, Gone Home looks like a horror game. Big empty spooky house, storm, there's literally a pentagram drawn in a closet. This is by design. In the era of big, exciting releases, Fulbright made the brilliant decision to Trojan horse their human story, disguising it as one about ghouls and ghosts. Although a lot of the Steam reviews seem to be disappointed with the bait and switch, I think it was the best call to ensure this important story reached as many people as possible. A lot of the items you find do nothing more than simply make the house feel lived in. Some are clues as to the stories of the rest of your family, writer's block, infidelity, rum running. But the main story is about your sister Sam. After being uprooted and moved to Oregon, Sam really struggles to fit in, somewhat due to her family's legacy. She rebels, plays some bangin' punk and grunge music.
Fuck you too, close mom!
And at least in my headcanon, becomes a total badass. You'll learn all this from simply exploring the house and finding little bits of her life. Cassette tapes, buttons, letters. Some are accompanied by Sam's narration.
Moving away has been a good excuse to, not see him anymore. But he did always have the good Nintendo games.
Some are simply left for you to figure out. This is the game's biggest accomplishment. I played like 50 hours of Fire Emblem Three Houses. I played a lot of that game. I taught and ate with and battled alongside those kids for 50 hours, and I can maybe tell you like 2 things about any of them. Three Houses is a great game, but without ever meeting Sam, simply by rummaging through her stuff, I feel like I know her better than any character, video game or otherwise. Just getting to read her stories as she becomes a more mature writer, finding her Street Fighter combo cheat sheet, her notes back and forth with her mom. Sam is a real person. Her closet is maybe the best example of environmental storytelling I can think of. Tucked away at the back of it is a pile of discarded gifts, a girly board game, a pink binder, and a Bible. And as you explore the house, you discover her discovering herself.
You know that feeling where the first moment you see someone, it's like they have a big gold star around them, and you have to get to know them? Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk, but sometimes I see her in this, army uniform. and she's always drawing in this notebook, looking so intense. Sometimes you just have to lie to Mom and Dad. Like when Lonnie asked me to see a band with her and stay over at her friend's place in the city after. That's a lie to Mom and Dad's situation. But it was so worth it. The girls on stage were just so loud and real and awesome. And everybody was moving together like one huge tide of sound. Between two songs, Lonnie leaned over and said, "How do you like your first show?" I was so happy. I felt tears starting in my eyes. And then she up and hugged me. I think she could tell. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and she wouldn't look at me. Finally, I asked her what was going on. She said she felt like she'd done something wrong that night in the city. Like I must think... But I said no, there was nothing wrong. I just wanted to say... But I couldn't find the words. I felt like I was gonna cry, but I wasn't sad. She got up and sat next to me on the bed. I looked at her. Lonnie, do you think you could ever... And that's when she kissed me.
Lonnie is also a fucking badass. All the little pieces you find of their life together tell the story of how much they care about each other, how much they need each other, while their friends, family, and life try to tear them apart.
You're too young to know what you want. You and Lonnie are just good friends. You just haven't met the right boy. It's a phase. That's what I didn't see coming. That they wouldn't even respect me enough to believe me.
Again, you learn all the beautiful and heart-wrenching details without ever meeting anyone, simply by observing their items. Items which, might I add, can be pretty intimate. There's a letter in the game that your character will actually refuse to read. And it's this intimacy that really makes it clear how much they mean to each other, which in turn makes them mean something to you. I don't think this could have worked in another medium. The intimacy combined with the interactivity makes you feel vulnerable. Being able to pick up and manipulate all these little bits of your family's life makes the story as human as it is. The house itself tells a story, and uncovering all of its secrets yourself only adds to the awesomeness that is this game. In a movie, you would inevitably never have as much time as is needed to take in all the little details that tell the story. If I hadn't spent so long looking at this drawing, I never would have noticed that it's stained with tears. This is my second call to action, because it is not too late to play this game without being spoiled. I haven't talked about how it ends yet, and there are so many little stories that really make these characters who they are for you to uncover yourself. So you might be wondering, Kieran, you're not a punk lesbian. Why do you identify with this game so much? Well, Strawman, that is a fantastic question. This is not the kind of game I would have played when it came out. In 2013, I was 11. I thought dumb 11-year-old things that I picked up from the older kids I hung out with and the internet. My friends and I made videos like this.
So then you'll have to sideways.
No! I used the word gay as a slur. I was real dumb. But then one day, I was bored. So I sat down and binge-watched Yogscast Zoe's YouTube Let's Play of the game. This is her playing.
Hey good lookins, what's kickins? Wow, look at the state of this kitchen. We should hire a maid. This is ridiculous. I definitely didn't do this. I definitely didn't empty out all the cupboards and throw everything on the floor trying to look for secrets. Oh, I missed one.
At the time, my favorite game was Black Ops 2. and I called people gay over Xbox Live. If someone had given me Gone Home, I would have never touched it. But by experiencing it, especially through someone who did have a more personal connection with the subject matter, it blew little 11-year-old me's mind. I remember watching the end of the game on my iPhone 4. After Lonnie calls and says,
She said, Sam, I want you to pack up everything you can and get in your car and come find me. And let's just drive until we find somewhere for us. And she asked me if I could do that. And I said yes. Yes.
after Yogscast, Zoe cried, and I definitely didn't. After you click on the notes in the attic addressed to you and hear your sister talk to you, maybe for the last time, saying,
Katie, I'm so sorry that I can't be there to see you in person, that I can't tell you all this myself. But I hope as you read this journal and you think back, that you'll understand why I had to do what I did. And that you won't be sad, and you won't hate me, and you'll just know that I am where I need to be. I love you so much, Katie. I'll see you again someday. Love, Sam.
Little 11-year-old dumbass me did understand. I got it. I went to bed that night still thinking about that story, and at that point, I didn't really know why. It's because it was a great story, and it taught me something. I still teared up a bit, okay, maybe a lot, making this video. Going back into that house still reminds me of what it was like the first time a story really meant something to me. Years later, I bought the game myself and played through it with my family in an attempt to show them what the big deal was. I don't think they really felt nearly as passionate about it as I do, but you know, what can you do? Gone Home is a special game to me. It came out at a time when stories and games, at least the ones I was playing, were about being a badass by killing and blowing things up. Gone Home is a game about being a badass by loving who you love and giving the rest of the world the middle finger. I may only be realizing it now, but Gone Home has done a lot to influence the way that I tell stories. Whenever someone asks me what my favorite game is, I have a couple of answers. I have over 2,000 hours in Team Fortress 2. I've played through Borderlands a bunch of times. I can't imagine how many days I've spent in Minecraft. But if I'm ever asked what the most important game is to me, what the most important story is to me, I'll answer the same way I'm sure Sam would if asked why she disappeared. Gone Home.